In law, a person is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks about doing it. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is just a game of intelligence. Two things excite me: the star-studded sky above and the moral law within me. With a fact, a man destroys his dignity as a man. It is not only God's destiny that requires us, but we must make ourselves free. It is beyond all doubt that all our knowledge of experience. He who is cruel to animals also becomes cruel when dealing with other people. We can know a person's heart from his attitude towards animals. Science is shaped by knowledge. Wisdom is shaped by life. Eventually I had to wipe out science, to create space for belief. The moral of happiness is how we make ourselves, but how we make ourselves worthy of happiness. Act as if the basis of your actions will produce a law for the whole world. Maturity is the ability to use one's intelligence without guidance from others. If a person makes himself a worm, he should not complain if he is stepped on by people. Ingratitude is the basis of evil. Metaphysics is a dark ocean without land or mercury, emerging with many philosophical errors. Closer. Beauty may not be seen. Thought without satisfaction is empty. Intuition without concepts is blind. Do not seek help from others. It is seldom obtained with honest and sincere intentions. But seek acknowledgement from a few people, not the number of votes, which only affects it. It doesn't matter whether as long as I live happily, but it is very important that as long as I live, I should live well. Live as if your every action will be universal. To be means to do. Happiness is something that is ideal if there is a reason for it to happen. Equanimity is the self-awareness of a healthy soul. Religion is the realization of our duty as a divine command. Because of happiness. Ideals, but imagination. The only purpose of reason is practical as good and evil. Because the former is an object that is really wanted for a reason. Other things are things that must be avoided, of course also with a reason. All reasons, speculative and practical, combine the following three questions. 1. What can I understand? 2. What should I do? 3. What do I expect? The term without intuition is empty, intuition without concept is blind. Religion is the recognition of all our duties as holy leaders. A categorical order becomes something that represents an action that is very important for itself, without the impetus for any other purpose. Even though all our knowledge just begins with experience, that does not mean that it arises from experience. You don't have to act because it suits someone, which you can do from inner motivation. The practical conditions are as follows. Trade so that you need humanity, both in your own person and in the person of each other, at any time at the same time as an end, never as a means. An argument that is wrong and is easiest to detect if it is arranged in the correct form of a syllogism. Be patient a little longer, slander does not last long. Truth is the child of time, long time he will appear to defend you. Most men use their knowledge only under the guidance of others because they lack the courage to think independently using their own reasoning abilities. It takes courage to find the truth. Humans want harmony, but nature knows best what is good for her species. She loves her words. All thoughts, directly or indirectly, with a character, are finally in touch with intuition. Exactly, for there is no other way it can be given to us. Even the praises would praise war as a human being that glorifies, forgetting the Greeks who said, war is bad because it produces more evil than kills. Act so that the proverb of your deeds can become a universal law principle. Act in such a way that you need humanity, both in yourself and in each other, at any time at the same time. If justice were to perish, human life on earth would have lost its meaning. When justice descends, it no longer has any value for people to live on earth. Human reason has this strange destiny in its one species of knowledge. It is burdened with questions which, as determined by the nature of reason itself, cannot be ignored, but which, being beyond all its powers, it also cannot be ignored. Can answer. Finally, there are imperatives which, without putting any other intention to be achieved by a particular behavior as a condition, directly determine this behavior. These obligations can be categorical, these obligations can be called morality. Aristotle can be considered as the father of logic. But the logic is too scholastic, full of subtlety, and basically has little value for human understanding. It is the dialectic and organon for the art of discord. Give me trouble, and I'll build a world out of it. From crooked wood is made by man, nothing straight could be made. He who has made great moral progress stops praying. Philosophy requires a science that will determine the possibilities, principles, and levels of human knowledge a priori. The true function of the state is to impose minimum limits and safeguard the maximum liberties of the people, and never to regard the individual as something. Life is the ability of spontaneous activity, the realization that we have power. Honesty is better than any policy. The infinity of creation is large enough to make the world, or Milky Way, visible in comparison to what flowers or insects do compared to Earth. Sincerity is the indispensable foundation of all consciousness, and as a consequence of all heartfelt religions. That logic has advanced in this definite course, even from the earliest times. It is evident from the fact that, since Aristotle, it has not been able to advance one step, and thus all appearances have reached their completion. Man must be disciplined, because by nature he is raw and wild. I learned to respect human beings, and I would have found myself far less useful than the average worker if I did not believe that these considerations could bring value to all people to uphold human rights. There are two things that don't necessarily mean anything. One is music and the other is laughter. Our mind does not draw its laws from nature, but imposes its laws on nature.